this is Lisa with My Jungle Journey, and today I'm going to be starting a new little mini-series in honor of my 1-year anniversary of living here in Costa Rica. I moved down last year from the United States on Election Day, and I have been here ever since. So there have been a lot of interesting things that have happened, a lot of interesting things within country as well as with my own personal life. So sit back and I hope you enjoy this. There will be tips and little bits of information that might be helpful to you as we go along. So feel free to ask any questions. You can contact me. I'd also be happy to get back with you. But in any case, if you don't want to miss out on any of this, go ahead and give this video a like, and most especially give it a subscribe and a notification bell click so that you don't miss out on anything that gets uploaded. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So sit back and enjoy. Okay, so in this very first video today, I'm going to be covering some little tidbits about how I got started here in terms of how did I get a vehicle, and was it difficult? What kind of attorney do I need? Do I ever need an attorney? Those sorts of things. And there's a lot of other videos out there that talk about this. This is just going to be about my personal experience. I'm not offering this as a guide, only as additional information to what research you might be coming up with already. I will say that there is one person in particular I would like to make mention of in the description below. I'm going to put her website and contact information. Her name is Laina, and she does have a channel on YouTube here, so I will refer there. She was instrumental in a lot of ways, and I'm going to begin there. So I'm going to tell you how I got started. First thing is I started looking at Costa Rica. Actually, when I was 9 years old, I had a friend who was from Costa Rica. She'd been adopted, and I was fascinated and thought that it was such an exotic sounding kind of country that maybe one day I might actually get a chance to check it out. So fast forward many years, I started looking into videos back around probably 2014, maybe a little earlier than that. But there's one video that I'm going to reference later on in regards to one that I had seen that was done covering the Puerto Jimenez little town down in Osa. And that plays into a part of my life, which I'll get into later on. But right now, I want to actually talk about Laina. When I first saw her YouTube videos, when I started just digging through everything I could find on YouTube, she was at that time just starting to post really about her different experiences here in Costa Rica. Before that, it was a lot of mindset and inner work types of videos, being a social worker previously, and she's got quite an interesting story, so it's something that you would most enjoy, I'm sure. So anyway, I'll go ahead and post some contact information for her in the description below. But I started looking at her videos, and I subscribed to her channel. I wanted to see anything and everything she posted at that point forward, and started looking at lots of others like travelcostarica.com, and I think it's travelcostaricanow.com, something like that. Anyway, they have a channel here as well. They did a lot of coverage. They had lots of videos. I still watch theirs from time to time, even though I'm still here. A lot of people, a lot more content out there now than back at that time. So I got to see Costa Rica for the first time myself in 2016, March of 2016. And for me, it was really kind of an emotional reaction that I had, which was really odd. But when the plane touched down, I had this emotional feeling like I was home. And I'd only experienced that one other time when I had moved to the Cherokee, Western North Carolina area. It's sort of like a little homing beacon had been turned on. And when you find that, if you ever experience that, you'll know the feeling. So I got to experience Costa Rica, non-tourist. My friend and I, he had been here a number of years, and we ended up renting a car and we drove for 6 days, I guess it was. We went and saw different parts of the country. We did just over 900 miles in that 6 days, and we had a blast. So, best experience. Excuse me. So, I knew at that point I want to be there. So I started working on checking into everything I possibly could. I wanted to learn about, okay, what's it take to be there? What kind of work is available? That's a whole nother story. If you haven't already heard, working in Costa Rica is not possible except with a few exceptions. The best thing that you can do is have your own business or work online. That's a whole nother little video that we might actually touch into a little bit, because it's been covered so many times by so many people, and I can always make references to some other places if you are interested in getting additional information. So anyway, I ended up working on coming up with a plan, and it was, well, 2019, just before COVID hit. Boy, this is so strange to think it's been 2 years already. Gosh. Yep. Anyway, so 2019, January, I decided to come down with my best friend and do a little reconnaissance trip, which is always something that I would suggest to anybody. Don't just pick up and move to a country you've never been to, never visited, never checked it out. You don't have a real clue as to whether or not you're going to like it. I was in the Appalachians in Western North Carolina for 12 years. I was used to a laid-back sense of, laid-back kind of an attitude anyway, from the community that I was living in. It was more centered around your life, not just rush, 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 rush. And living in Florida, working in Florida, I grew up in Florida, and if anybody's been to South Florida, you know what the pace of life is like there. I was pretty much done. I came from a medical background. I was a medical provider, and I just realized that after everything that I had gone through, I wanted a more peaceful, serene kind of a lesser stress scenario for my life. So anyway, I want to kind of keep an eye on these minutes too, because I don't want to go over. I'm going to try to keep these to close to 10 minutes so that it doesn't bore everybody to death and they can get on with their day. So that's why this is going to be a little mini series. I'm going to kind of chop it up for you. So let's see. Then I ended up having a miraculous kind of a surgery, because I'm a bone cancer survivor, age 14. I had an osteosarcoma type that they gave me the choice of either amputating the leg or having the surgery. That was new back then. I did the surgery, which ended up leaving the leg fused, so it was straight for a long time. And then lo and behold, after being told by so many doctors, I finally was connected divinely, because at this point I wasn't looking, with a surgeon who said he wanted to give me my quality of life back. And one thing led to another. I had the surgery, and then I actually did the reconnaissance trip, shall we say, after I'd had the surgery. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So I have to make a correction, obviously. The surgery was end of January of 2019. I didn't make the reconnaissance trip until 2020. So, yep, okay, got it straight now. And I decided to go ahead and push through and with my plans anyway, instead of sitting back on my heels until my rehabilitation was completed, because after the leg being fused for so long, it's going to be a 2 to 5 year plan of recovery. The muscles were gone, all sorts of stuff. So I'm just now at 2.5 years, and I've still got quite a ways to go, but no more walker, no more cane, no more brace, no more crutches, no more anything. I'm getting around on my own and getting stronger, still working with a physical therapist. I found one here. Actually, I found a couple of them here. And so all these little questions about, well, do they have this? Do they have that? How are you going to be able to adapt? And I have to say, it has been quite easy. And I'm supposed to be living in the jungle, but there's access. If you don't mind traveling a little bit, if you need to for something, then it's not a big deal. But if you're used to having instant gratification, you need to have your answers and you need to have everything happening right now, boom, 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 you might have a little trouble in adapting. So it does take a change in your mindset if you haven't already made that, or if you're not already a really chill person. Okay, now I'm going to jump into the actual move itself. And I just kind of wanted to give you a little precursor as to where I was. You know, number one was doing this as a single woman coming down here by myself. Other people thought that I was going to be moving with someone else, or that it wasn't possible to do it as a single woman, or certainly not if you just had surgery and you're still in recovery. I don't know, maybe I'm a crazy person, but it definitely, it takes, for me, a lot of research and a lot of faith. No fear. No fear. I don't allow myself to fear, and I think that's because, I'm not saying being silly or being stupid. Weigh your risks and weigh all of your options carefully. The more research that you can do, the better. You have to excuse my earbuds. My equipment is not working that well, my microphone connection, so the earbuds are going to make this much easier for people to hear and yeah, without distraction. Okay, so again, anything is possible if you put your mind to it and you do enough work ahead of time. Don't be jumping into things blindly, of course. But I felt a very keen sense of peace and an excitement about the whole thing. So I made reference to Sarah in the beginning, so I'm going to say this, that because of her, I needed transportation when I got here because I was still on a cane. And I knew that walking up and down hills and across rocky terrain or uneven pavement or anything like that was going to be difficult to get to a bus stop, just because the transit system here is awesome. But physically speaking, to walk any distance, I would have to have found a rental right at the bus stop if I was going to be able to get around and do anything. That was not possible. So I knew that I needed my transportation. So I needed a car before I got here, because once I got here, I wasn't going to have the ability. Of course, I could have rented a car and looked for a vehicle to purchase, but I wanted to try to save money and use what money I had for the purchase of a vehicle and not take too much time and too much expense to come up with a solution. So I found my vehicle on a website, sort of like classified ad or almost like Craigslist kind of a place, but it's more like a classified ads called Encuentra. Sorry, I might be massacring that, but it's ENCUENTRA dot either CR or com. I can't remember which, but there's all sorts of things for sale there, but that's where I found my vehicle. And Sarah was living in the Uvita area at the time. A lot of people call it Uvita because it's UVITA, but it's actually pronounced, and you will be corrected by a local if you are so honored to do so. It is called Uvita, so a W instead of a V. Anyway, so she orchestrated everything with the attorney, and since it was things were kind of locked down at the time when I was trying to arrange this, so there was no way for me to get here. I couldn't get a flight out to come down. I got my tickets postponed like twice before I was ever able to leave the country and come down when I did last year. So in the meantime, because the lawyer didn't have power of attorney, Sarah didn't have power of attorney, nobody had power of attorney down here for me. So we did it in the attorney's office between all four of us. I was on that end of it, and Sarah and the owner that was selling the vehicle were in the office with the attorney, and we did the transfer of the money and the whole thing. I went through PayPal. I got permission, had it set up first with PayPal, that I was able to transfer the large sum of money, and we did it that way, and it went over without a hitch. It was great. So when I did fly in to San Jose and went to go get the vehicle, the attorney came and sat down and transferred the title for me and all that other stuff. So, but we'll get into that in the next section, because I think the second video, since this one's getting a little bit long, that's the one that I'm going to tell you about the vehicle and all the bits and pieces of how you need to do it so that you don't get in any sort of trouble or hassle. The less headaches, the better, right? So anyway, so let me go ahead. I'm going to stop this one right now. I know it wasn't real super juicy, but maybe it'll give you an idea of what's to come. So don't forget to hit that notification bell and you'll get notified when the next one, part 2, comes up. Okay? All right. Have a great day. Pura Vida.